Going on?
Not
First
much.
off, what's your name and where are you from?
My name is Lee. I am from Texas.
All right, Lee. Nice to meet you, man. My
Good to
name's
meet you.
David. I'm the host of the Faithist talk show. And okay, so I get to ask you three questions, then you get to ask me three questions. Okay?
Sure.
Okay. Are you spiritual or religious, Lee?
Uh, I guess I would say more spiritual, but I describe myself as like an agnostic atheist.
Okay. So all right. So you're open to the idea of God, but you don't see enough evidence to say one way or the other. Is that correct?
I'm open to the idea that a God may exist, but to my understanding, it's none of like what we've recognized currently.
Okay.
Like none of the gods that like we've currently like quote unquote like either discovered or made stories about and such.
So and where so with that worldview, how does spirituality come into play?
See, that's the thing. I'm not sure if I would describe it as spirituality because I study like philosophies like Stoicism and such, and
Uh,
to like try and like better myself as a person. Uh, so I guess it's like a little bit difficult to describe it as spiritualism. Uh, I guess it's sort of like a feeling. I guess like whenever I go out into nature, I go hiking or something, I feel like a sense of peace, but I
hmm
wouldn't really describe it as like anything spiritual because like it's not like I'm having some sort of like odd experience that no other human can't experience, you know? Like I'm not really sure how else to describe it.
maybe connectivity, or feeling connected to the moment, connected to your surroundings, and at peace. You're at
Yeah,
your. Some people would describe that as spiritual. It doesn't
yeah.
necessarily need to be labeled with anything particularly.
hmm
So my third question is, what is your belief on the afterlife?
Personally, I just think it kind of goes black. I think when we die, we just go into the ground, and what remains of us will be the memories of us that will live on, and our friends, our children, their children, if we live long enough for them to see us as well. Uh, I think the only thing that kind of like continues on is just our memory.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. All right, so those are my three questions for you. So, trying to summarize. So you're a sort of philosophical agnostic atheist who.
Yeah, I
Okay.
guess.
All right, that sounds right. All right. Cool. All right. So, what are your three questions for me? They don't have to be in
Um,
the afterlife. It can be whatever you want.
yeah, sure, no problem. I guess one thing I do have to ask, like, what do you think happens in the afterlife?
I have no idea, but um, I I have enough confidence in some sources of information that I will just sort of use that. I don't have any particularly evidence for it, but I'm just going to say that at this point, this is what I'm subscribing to. Maybe blindly, maybe not blindly. But what I would say happens in the afterlife is when we're born here physically, we are we're not actually the body or the mind. We are a spirit sort of like piloting a vessel.
hmm
And when we die, that vessel is replaced with a different vessel. And so this is a very physical world, and the next world would be, it's been described as being maybe less physical, so like a different vibration, different bandwidth. And so the body that we get for that is a representative of that reality. So not physical like this, but it's reflective of a different reality. And the whole point of continuing on, so like instead of thinking of it as death, each time we die, it's more of actually it's more of a birth. Like this is like maybe more of an egg, and when it cracks and dies, goes away, then we are actually born into a different reality, like a womb.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it's like it's a continuous journey. There is really no end destination. It's just a matter of going from one kind of reality to another reality. There's no end. So, and hopefully each
Interesting.
reality gets better and better. That's the main idea, anyways.
Yeah. Alrighty then. Um, my third question is what like religions or ideologies have you been exposed to through your life? Like I guess like what's like the primary thing that you've been exposed to, but then like other things that like you've learned along the way.
Primarily, I was a Seventh Day Adventist Christian or slash cult, depending on how you view Seventh Day Adventists.
Okay, I've
I
never
was,
heard.
it's like a very unique form of Protestant Christian, or a lot of Protestant Christians don't even think that Adventists are Christians. They just say, oh, they're a cult, which I can't argue with that. But I think all Christians are part of a cult. All religion is kind of just one version of cult, because you have a leader and you have a sacred text and you have adherence and you have sort of mechanisms for sort of everyone thinking about the same. So
Yeah.
I think most religion is pretty much culty, but so yeah, so Christian Seventh Day Adventist would be like where I grew up in, and then I was Wiccan for about 10 years, and then Um, I've loosely explored like Buddhism and Hinduism and Norse paganism, and I've explored atheism, and but faithism is where I landed because it just kind of makes everything make a lot more sense. So, and when I think of contradictions of, I've looked into stuff like I've studied creation science my whole life because I was a Christian, and a lot of it makes a lot of sense, and there's a lot of stuff that just doesn't make any sense. And then I've studied evolution, and a lot of that makes a lot of sense, but then some of it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And so these contradictions, what a faithist, the teachings of faithism actually make a lot of things come together in a way that just makes a lot of sense. So
Yeah.
that's a long answer to your question.
No, no, no. Yeah, it's all good. My third question is how long you've been playing guitar?
Oh, I've been playing for a long time, but I've also been plateaued for a very long time too. So
Plateau.
I've been playing for 20 years, which you'd think for 20 years you'd be amazing, but no, I don't practice that much. So
Yeah, no. I mean, like I quote unquote write, but it's like I've never like written a book. I mostly just like write short stories and stuff that like I think
yeah,
are fun, that I think are like funny or interesting and stuff.
this guitar is particularly cool because it's so cheap and gross, but it's like I've modified it and it's been with me a long time. I got this off Craigslist, and it had no tuners, no strings, no. It doesn't even have a bridge here because it broke, and
Oh,
the action was perfect without it. So I was like, just left it,
oh,
and then I put these two sound holes here. This whole guitar was only like $15 on Craigslist, and it's got a caved in dent right here. It's a pretty trashy guitar, but it's literally like my favorite guitar I have.
I
It's
mean,
awesome.
no, yeah, that sounds great. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad it broke to where you liked it. Like you were comfortable with it breaking and you were able to make something cool out of it. That sounds like it's I don't know, that's like a metaphor for something that sounds like.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It just is perfect for me, I guess. I don't know. So I have an expensive guitar. Well, expensive for me, but not as much fun to play.
Not as much fun. Yeah, alrighty then. It's more fun. It's more fun to play to do like. It's more fun to do shit things for fun. You know, like.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Alrighty
Yeah.
then. Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
good
Well,
talking.
you're the first guest on tonight's show, and do you have any other questions, or is that it?
Not at the moment. I came in here, so I was on two other lives, but
Okay.
I guess it's because like they were too religious or something that like they both had ended, but like it didn't seem like I don't. It didn't seem like they wanted it to end. It seemed like TikTok took them down, and I sat there and I was like, "Wait, why?"
Oh.
So I don't know if like TikTok took them down or like if something just happened with like their internets. But no, yeah. So I just came in here.
Yeah, I've been on lives too. They just end. Like, what on earth is going on?
No, yeah.
All right. Well, you're welcome to stay or to get off. Nobody else seems to want to come on.